Hi, Bear. It's so nice to see you.
It's good to see you too.
Well, we met very briefly. What was it, about a year and a half ago at the
Yeah,
Body
body
Con?
kind.
Yeah, and both Mara and I were just completely blown away by you. You're kind of just you didn't even have to say anything. You're like energy. Yeah,
Oh,
you're just like, I don't know. You just kind of lit up the room, and it just felt like such a good opportunity to invite you because obviously we're online this year. And so
yeah.
thank you so much for joining me today for our
Oh, thanks for
informal
having
cash
me.
chat. Oh,
Yeah.
great. Do you want to start off? I know this is a horrible question, um, or a horrible invitation, but do you mind kind of telling everyone who's watching or listening about a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name's Bear. My pronouns are mainly they, them for the moment. I'm still in like s- they, him, more masculine, more going to masculine than feminine. Um, I'm like definitely trans, but I just don't know. It's a journey, isn't it? Like trying to find what oh say trying to find which feels best for you. So I'm like in that at the moment. So they them for now is best.
Uh, thanks, that's great. Just kind of going back to what you were saying about that, being a journey of, I don't know if it's cliche to say, but a journey of a discovery. Have you ever felt a pressure to be certain? Do you know what I mean? Like, this
Yeah,
is
all the time.
okay.
All the time. People are like, because like there's not many even with blackness or fatness or queerness, because there's not many of any of that really in my life, in everyday to day life with people. Um, they always expect me to be so certain because it's the unknown. But like the Q can also be questioning in LGBTQ, like because there is a lot of questions and it is a journey and it does sound so cliche. I describe it more as a storm, to be honest.
Well, so much better than my words. Where do you think that pressure comes from?
I think it comes from that pressure comes from like not knowing myself. So how can you have somebody follow you in what you're doing if you're also uncertain? Which is what I struggle with because like it's like, well, how am I meant to lead when I don't have a fucking map? Can I swear? Sorry.
Yeah, you can. I think it's totally fucking.
It's just like I don't know. I like to look at life as like a series of mountains and campsites, and like we're always so focused about getting to the top, um, but we're always stuck in shitty makeshift campsites. Like this pandemic, we're all literally spiritually stuck right now. I don't know if spiritually is the right word, but we all feel we're all in the same uncertainty and fogginess, and yeah, someone always wants you to be like, okay, flashlight, let's go. You lead the way. And it's like, well, actually, I don't know where we're going, but I got some things in my backpack that are really good. For like some tools. What have you got in yours? Let's see if we can survive. But like
Yeah,
for a map and certainty, there isn't any. But there's a freedom in that, you know? Like you can be anything you want. And I know that sounds like it sounds really cliche, but like your life is for you to invent who you want to be. It's about deciding the person you choose to be, the person you become, you know? And that shouldn't be affected by others. I mean, don't hurt anybody on the way, but like, yeah. I think the pressure from the uncertainty is not knowing, and like humans are meant to know everything. It's just like, well, this is so strange and foreign to me. Why would you even do it? Like, it baffles me that you could even think like that. So you must have a reason why. And I'm like, I don't. It's just how I feel. And I know feelings aren't facts, but like feeling is a big part of my life, and I need to see where that takes me.
yeah. And it's so
Yeah.
interesting, you're talking about that. And I think that sometimes we're almost conditioned to like trust the people that look like they know exactly what they're doing and exactly what
Yeah.
they're talking about. And the truth is that No one. No.
No one does.
I mean, I feel like I'm blagging it most of the time, and the fact that you're open and say, I'm not sure, I'm still questioning, is to me one of the most inspiring things I've heard, seen in a while, because it allows, it invites, it encourages people to go, you know what, it's okay if I'm not sure either.
Yeah, and that is okay. Like, I feel that my catchphrase is "that's okay." like I don't know what's happening. It's like, and that's okay, like that's okay. It will pass. We just, I don't know. It's so much. It's like when you look for a grown up in the room as you get older. Like when you're like 16 or 17, you think that everybody in their 30s is well old, and like, oh, how could you even be that old? And then like, you get to your like 30s or your late 20s, and you realize nobody knows what they're doing. Like, not a clue. Oh, you froze. You're still there.
Oh no, you've frozen as well. But again, oh, there you go. Okay, I think we're just going to have to accept. Do you know what? I think Zoom is almost like a metaphor for life. Sometimes it all goes a bit, and you just have to go. Well,
just go with
it. So, like, one of the questions that I had to ask you, and it kind of links into what you're saying, I think, about being, I've used the word activist, but I suppose we could use the word role model, or someone to look up to, or whatever you want to use in place of that word. Like, what does that mean? What does it mean to you? How would you define being an activist?
Well, like, never put anybody on a pedestal, because like humans aren't designed to be on them. We've got shit balance. We will fall off. Yeah. So don't put me on the pedestal. Definitely not a role model. With the word activist, I think you have to be active in whatever you're doing. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what you're doing, or like how publicly active, or it's when you're behind closed doors, really. That's when real activism is, like when nobody's watching and you do the thing or make the change, or like invite somebody else to be like, oh, actually, that's all right. Okay. Yeah. I'll try that. Like, people love leaders. Like, we're always looking for someone, but nobody knows what they're doing. Like, you don't realize until you get an adult that, like, actually grown-ups is just a fucking social construct.
Really?
Everybody's winging it to like these set of rules that are as old as the dawn of time, and nobody knows what they're doing. And that's okay.
Yeah,
it's scary to have that like realization, but I felt a lot better about it when I realized that everybody else is in the same boat.
Yeah.
Like you can look at somebody and think, oh, they've definitely got their shit together. They know what that's about, and like you can't tell. Everybody's fighting invisible battles, and you can't tell where a person is just on your perceptions of them.
No.
Yeah, like it confuses my family a lot, because I'm just like, they call me queer as in weird, because I'm like quirky queer. They're like, okay, well, just queer's okay then, because you're quirky. I'm like, yeah, if that works, that can work for now, until I go back to you with like a thing. But yeah, we're so quick to like label and box and categorize. We need it to make sense of stuff. It's a scary concept to like be like, actually, I don't know, and that's okay.
Yeah, and I think we're not taught, or to like be honest about that and say, oh, I don't know. If someone asked a question, and someone who was kind of in power, or someone that people looked up to, just go, you know what, I don't know. I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm not going to like make it up. I'm just going to be honest and vulnerable and say I don't know.
Yeah, there's power in that, because like I don't know, society holds us to such high role models of what we should be fulfilling, and it's by milestones. Like each decade you reach, you've got to have this, that, and it's all based on the patriarchy and gender, and it's like it's a losing battle. So like strip it off, make your own rules, and it's okay not to know. Like,
Yeah.
I'd rather, I don't know, there's that pressure, isn't there, when somebody is asking you a question and they want you to have the answer. But not everybody does. There's nothing wrong with that. Nobody knows what's going on. Just trying to make the best of a worse situation.
Okay, so recently I was reading an article that was obviously featured you, and it was in a magazine called Queers & Co. And you said, I quote, "For my 30th, I made the promise that I would dedicate the next 30 years of my life to being black and queer and out there," which really, really stood out to me. Can you tell me, like, what inspired that for you, and what does that mean for you as well?
I think it was more like a breaking point. We had spent 30 years trying to fit a box that we'd never ever fit. Like my family are great, but they're very traditional. They're very white. They're very conservative, and I was raised fiercely to fit into that world. And it wasn't until I was 30 I realised that I wasn't ever going to fit in to it. And I'd spent so much time dedicating to try and fit into a box, to try and be thin, to try and be white, to try and be feminine, to try and be like a lady, to speak properly, to sound white when I speak, and all of that, like, all integrated. And I was like, fuck it. There's like a whole other part of me that I don't know about, that the whole world judges me on because they see me for it on face value. And I spent a lot of time with a lot of shame and a lot of self-hate, and I guess I just got tired. Like, it's just like, well, you know, we put all of our energy into this every day and it's working really well. We hate life, we hate ourselves, everything's meaningless. Like, why don't we try and spin that? Because practice makes perfect, even if it's remembering to take your meds in the morning, or like pushing yourself to shower, or singing because, you know, it makes your body feel good. Like, even though I get anxious about other people hearing us, it's stuff like that. It's pushing yourself into the uncomfort zone, I guess. It is, I don't know. Oppression is that's what did it. I was like, fuck this, it's not working. I've done everything. I've like dedicated my life to men. I've like went down the the route of getting married, having children. Like, none of this makes me happy. And others must feel like that, but you're never told that. Everybody's just told that you've got to want the status quo, because that's what everybody's told that they want. And yeah, I think that's a lot of queerness, is just like saying, actually, no, this isn't how I feel, and I must not be the only one. And that's when it comes into the self-discovery, because you're learning a whole new person, in a sense. Like, you're unlearning everything that's been expected of you, and that's some deep unpacking, man. It's heavy shit, like big work for anybody to do. But it's worth it work. Like, after the storm there is a rainbow, and it is queer, and it is loud, and it is proud. Like, and you will get there. I keep telling myself, like, I will get there. Like, this beautiful sparkling rainbow of like acceptance and queerness is on the other side. Because it just it's quite hard to be queer and black in a very white and thin, white and straight world where I live. But we do it.
And clearly I can't relate to you on that level, because I am white, and but I really want to make sure that, like,
everybody can relate to not fitting in, though.
No, that's true. Yeah, definitely. But I suppose people like me have, like, especially in terms of my whiteness, have definitely been given opportunities to share their experiences and stuff. And then it's black people and other people of color that have just kind of had to like sit it out or fight or both. And I, especially at this time, and I wanted to talk to you about this if you're happy to do so. Like,
yeah.
it almost feels like the Black Lives Matter movement has almost, for a lot of people, I think it's like almost a new kind of thing. But for black and brown people, like,
it's definitely trending.
Where are you at in terms of like everything that's going on? God, that's a big question. But like, is it? Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to shut up and let you speak about it.
No, it's all right. I don't know. Honestly, I'm not a beacon of hope, Max. When it comes to stuff like this. I mean, like, Black Lives Matter kicked off originally 5 years ago, and then it went under again. It didn't trend as big as it trended this time. And it will trend, and it is trending, but the trending's dying down. Yeah. And it will fade out again, like it did before. Maybe not as much. The problem is revolutions is like, one, they're not televised, so like it's not main media, and two, they have to happen again and again and again and again and again for it to change. If you think about like I don't know, what the women's rights to vote, like that was years of turmoil. And this will be the same. Like I always try to say to people, I have a lot of online black friends who I like check in with and be like, hey, by the way, just to let you know, you fucking matter, because like everybody's like Black Lives Matter, and like we're forgetting ourselves in this. So like you can't fight fully if you're not fully there, and you need to recover and step back and look after yourself, and there's no shame in that. I think change is coming, but it'll be very slow, like it always is. I think we're planting seeds now that we won't see turn into mighty oaks, but hopefully they do. Yeah. They become pillars into the society that's coming after us.
It's almost like the impact that you will have, you may never really truly see.
Yeah. Well, like, I'm a nihilist, so like what I'm saying is like the seeds we plant now, we won't know if they'll grow, but we can nurture them, and we can try and plant seeds in other people, or give other people seeds to plant and nurture, and just hope for the best. Like there's power in numbers, which is great because it's on trend and everybody's like in it, but everybody's very virtual signaling, like it's very performances and not giving up power. So one of the things like I've noticed is just it would just be that one black square on so many people's things, like people will forget about it. That's why I'm doing my trans death thing so slow, because I know the movement will die off before the murders stop happening. So it's just like I drop it in when I have the emotional energy to learn about a person and be like, this is a human being, this is how they died. Like and they died because they're this, and this is what we are, and you know, I don't know, everybody bleeds, everybody needs love, like all our human needs are the same. But whether it'll change, I think it will change, but won't change enough. I think people will there'll be something else, you know. I see a lot of like fatphobia, fat activism is already on the rise above Black Lives Matter activism, because we have the two contradicting campaigns at the moment with like eat out to help out, but also everybody's a fat pig, we all need to lose weight because you're going to die. But here's 50% off of your favourite restaurant.
I know.
Being fat was a pandemic before we had a pandemic, and now that this pandemic's starting to ease up a little bit, I don't think we're anywhere near done. Like the fatness is coming back in. But the fact that we have two contradicting campaigns is just like, it just goes to show that people in power also don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
They're also winging it. So like, who says their rules are right, you know? Like, if they don't know what they're doing, then how can we follow suit?
Yeah.
I don't know how to change that, or like, I have no idea how to change it, but I know it's a...
I think that is the start. For so long, I think we looked up to people in authority and those who have power and just said, well, they must be right because they're there for a reason.
They know what they're doing, yeah.
And there's almost comfort in that, because if they know what they're doing, I don't need to know necessarily.
Yes, it's so nice to have someone take the lead, or like, if you're like, when you're employed or you're self-employed, when you're self-employed, you have to like make your own schedules and be your own boss and like be disciplined. It's really difficult. But when you've got a job to go to and somebody else is going to tell you off, you'll be up and out. Like, structure's good. Routine is, I think routine's good for the human brain. It's just finding the right one.
Yeah, that works for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I mean, that kind of relates for me to this whole lockdown experience. How has it been for you? What has your routine looked like? Is it, what has the experience been like for you?
I'm not going to lie, Max. Lockdown for me has been wonderful. Usually I leave the house and I only leave the house to go to the beach to pick for work and crafting and stuff, or walking the dogs. And like I need to go to the post office later, and I know there'll be an altercation with somebody in the post office, because there always is someone's telling me to go back to my own country.
Are you serious?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think last week was the first altercation I got for the first time in a year, and I usually get 2 a day. If I leave the house, somebody will say something. So,
like, and this is my white privilege, isn't it? Because I can go to the post office and not like think about that. Like, I might have an altercation, but it's rare and it's not to do with me being white. So the fact that that is your reality.
I started the craft company because I couldn't get a job, because like I used to work in admin and run companies down south, and I have a very good resume for like white collar jobs, which I got into by luck through a friend. And I'll get to like the third, fourth part of the telephone interviews, and then they'll see me over Skype and be like, "Oh, I just don't think you'll fit into the environment," or "I don't think you'll be quite right for us." And I'm just like, I don't know if that's because I'm fat, because I'm black, or because like I'm not conforming, or like I don't dress to a standard that's expected. But yeah, no, everybody's like pro-Brexit here. We're like 50 years behind. If you're a woman, you get called a wifey down the shop.
Really?
They just assume your gender. All right, wifey. It's just like...
Random strangers call you wifey?
Yeah, at the shop, yeah.
Oh, like, I mean, yeah. I've got no words for that, to be honest.
People are like, why do you stay? But like...
Well, you know, I mean, I think that will resonate with lots of people that are watching or listening to this or reading this, and they might be in a position where they're in their hometown or they're in a situation that they face similar things that you face. And it almost feels, that's why I'm really drawn to you, Bear, because I think sometimes we fall into, as a society, like, you've got to be positive to be a leader. You've got to be positive to be a leader. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although people do need hope, also people need to feel like they're not being shamed for being disappointed, sad, angry, upset.
Yeah.
All of those different things. And that's what I really like about you, just being really honest again. Look, this is how it is.
This is how it is. Bad vibes are okay.
Bad,
It's part of life.
yeah, I'm not going to infect you with my bad vibes. Like, I just need to be kind of real here and talk about how I'm experiencing this.
Yeah, no, like, I mean, like bad vibes are okay. Like, people are always like, oh, it's got to always be good vibes and stuff, and like, good vibes are great, but like, there's not a lot of that when we like look at it factually, and that's okay. It's not great, but like, we can change it, hopefully.
Yeah. Do you think that often comes from like a position of privilege, that like, cheer up, like, look on the bright side, you know, all that stuff?
I don't know if it comes from privilege or society. It definitely comes from somewhere. It's embedded somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're a fat femme presenting fashion blogger, you always have to be positive.
Okay.
Like, you always have to be smiling. You're always selling your happiness, and your happiness has to be absolute at all times, and that's just not the human spectrum. I think saying to someone, if they like have mental health, or if they're in fight invisible battles, for someone to be like, oh, just cheer up or try some yoga, when your brain's utterly wired to despair and doom, it's just like, it's not, I mean, I'll try it, but it's not, I need medication to rewire that, and that's okay. Yeah. People do like, oh, just try this, or like, it's like, if, you know, there's so many things. Or you'd be really pretty if you lost a bit of weight. I don't get that anymore now because I'm too masculine looking, which is good. But people are like, what is that, or it, rather than like, oh, you should smile more. You're so pretty if you smile more. I'm glad that's gone.
What do you think of body positivity? Like, what do you think of the term? Like, in terms of the community, what is your experience of it?
I think body positivity is bullshit, and have done from the very start. Really. And people are like, oh, I find that really like, that personally affects me that you'd think that. And it's just like, well, look into it, you know? Go form an opinion, do some research, then come back to me. And if I have offended you, I didn't mean to, if you still feel like the same way. I think it's super tarnished. I think it like is very whitewashed. It's been capitalized. It's trending. And it always insists on positivity. Yeah, it means you need to be a certain way. It means you need to be positive. And body positivity comes usually out of self-loathing.
Right.
Like, to have a positive attitude comes from unlearning your negative attitude.
Yeah.
And not everything's positive all the time, you know? Like, if someone's a forerunner for like an inspiration model for like plus size ladies or whatnot, they don't always have to be comfortable in their bodies, but there's a pressure to always be comfortable.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, it's like, oh, no bad vibes. Sort of bad vibes are a part of life, and that's okay. Like, it's not all good vibes. It's not all hugs and kisses and sunshines and rainbows. Like, life's more like, I don't know, I like to explain it as a shit hurricane. Like, it's just turds flying 100 miles per hour with pockets of glitter. You get beaten all over with shit all the time, and every now and then you get glitter, and you're like, oh, that's amazing. And you forget all about the shit. Like, and if you're really lucky, you get hit glitter with a couple of times, but the shit will always come back round because it's always circling. But yeah, it's trying to like hold on to the glitter, let go of the shit.
Yeah, totally.
If you're born into the Western world, there is an archetype that you have to fit. There's a body type. If you're assigned female at birth or assigned male at birth, there's a body type that you're already imposed on you to have. There's things that you have to do. You have to get a 9-to-5 job. You have to get married. You have to have kids. You've got to have the car. Also get away twice a year. Like, these are all things that were massive dreams as a teenager, but none of them are my own. Does that make sense? Like, it's
Yeah,
just what everybody, this is what you've got to want, because this is normal. As soon as we start comparing ourselves to others, or like comparing ourselves to the boxes we should be fitting, that we're told that we should be in by the time we're wherever we are, there's a lot of pressure. People don't like it when you break the box either, especially if they've spent all their life like getting all the ticks on the list, and you're like, actually, fuck it, I'm gonna do what I want. Some older people are like, no, that's not okay. You don't get to get out the rat race.
Going back to the Black Lives Matter movement, a lot of the stuff that I've seen on social media in response to Black Lives Matter, some people saying, but all lives matter.
Oh, yeah.
Have you, yeah. Where do we start? So have you seen a lot of that or experienced a lot of that? And do you respond to it? Yeah.
I do respond to it quite aggressively. That's only because, so like all of my friends in my day-to-day life and all of my family are white, and they started this process off colourblind. I mean, they raised me as if I was colourblind. They raised me as racist, if anything. Not intentionally. That's just the way it happens. Or it happened. You got to learn it. But like, all lives matter. If all lives matter, then why aren't you vegan? That's all I say. Like, if all lives matter, then why aren't you vegan?
Yeah. There you go. That's the response, isn't it?
That's just the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
Like, all right, they do. When are you going vegan? Huh?
Yeah, definitely. But that's why, like, all lives matter is bullshit, because, and I feel bad. No, I don't feel bad saying that. But the problem is that they've picked a phrase that, without context, if I'm saying all lives matter is bullshit, they're like, you think that only certain lives matter. Do you know what I mean? And you think, oh, that's like so fucked up. Of course,
people take it the wrong way.
That's so interesting, isn't it? That all lives matter almost seems like the kind of, they've gone on this higher pedestal, like that everybody.
Yeah.
But actually, when that comes to putting into action, like you look at kind of the way that asylum seekers, refugees are treated in this country, and you think, all lives matter to you. Do they really matter to you? Or is it the people that look like you and the people?
Yeah, it is. Like, I recently discovered that, like, I'm a third generation immigrant from Windrush, which nobody had ever said anything about in my family. Because they wanted to protect me from the truth. So I've like been finding out a lot about that. And that was all based on colour. Like, it wasn't about it was about what you look like. It was the colour of your skin. It wasn't about your skills. And everybody was invited in, and just of the promise that they could stay. But actually it was always in the clause that they'd be sent back. I think that's going back to court, because it's going under review, because if they don't review it, then it can happen again to the second and third generations, which will affect me. But like, they have took away British passports and send people back to Jamaica, even though they haven't been there since they were 6 or they were born here. Or like, so like, it's very, no time for all lives matter. just no, just like, everybody's human. Like, no human being is illegal. Like, borders are an illusion. Fuck, we just made some pretty colours on the flag and stuck it. Like, this is my lad now. Yeah. Do you have a certificate to be here?
I mean, just all of those things. It's like, for me, it does come from a place of like, well, I mean, the all lives matter stuff is just, you know, you might want to look at your racism. Do you know what I mean? Like, you might want to take a look at why you're so angry that we are highlighting, or that people are highlighting an issue that has been going on for so long. Why is that so irritating to you? Why is it like, does it rile you up so much?
Because it's giving up power.
Yeah.
So like, like with gay rights and women's rights and lots of rights, there's always equality rights. But with Black Lives Matter, we're starting at the very basis. We're just going for matter. We just want existence, just acknowledgement to being human. And still people were like, oh no, all lives matter. It's like, oh! It's a shot to the heart. It's just like, yes, they do. But, you know, if somebody else is, it's like, say you got a white house and a black house, and the black house is burning down, not people, just coloured houses, and the black house is burning down, and the person who owns the white house says, oh my God, you know, why aren't you watering my house? It's like, well, your house, the black house is on fire, so we're going to put the flames out. But like, yeah, well, my house matters too. It's the same kind of, it's like, you don't need this. You've already got it. We're just like parloring for basic human rights. It's not even that. Like, it's just a matter. That's why it's so a lot of people here at All Lives Matter or colorblind. Like, my family aren't colorblind anymore.
Can you say a bit more about colorblind? Because that's something that a lot of people won't really know.
Okay, so colorblindness is when you say, I don't see color, right. I just see people.
Yeah. Okay.
And by doing that, you dismiss that there is institutionalized racism in our systems by saying, like, well, I just see a person, so that's all that I see and that's all that matters. And it's great that you just see a human being, but our systems in power in place don't see us as equal human beings. For many different reasons, any minority is seen as lesser. If you're disabled, like if you're able-bodied, you're seen as better than somebody who is disabled, which is bullshit. Like, yeah, it's all on our value for like productivity and fucking capitalism.
Yeah,
it always runs down to that. Like, how much can you make the state? Yeah. How much can we tax you? Yeah. It's fucked.
Yeah. It is fucked. You're right. Yeah.
It's so fucked.
But people need to like talk about that, because when people say, "Oh, just go for a walk there," like chill out, like smile.
I know, right? Every time I leave the house, I have to leave the house with steel toe caps. Like, every time I go to the post office, about twice a month, I'll get started on and have to hold my own. Like, it doesn't matter what time I go out. Like, I went out the other morning, to watch sunrise. I was like, no fuck is going to be about. I'm going to have no altercations. We're going to go to the beach. We're going to dance. We've got enough spin. We're just going to do this. And it's like 5 o'clock in the morning, and like there was a guy there collecting coal, and he was like, oh, you look really nice dancing. And just come and sat and talked to me for like 25 minutes. And then was like, oh, do you suppose you could get a knot out of my shoulder? And I'm like, what? I'm going to leave now. Like, I'm always ready to... There's no personal space, which is what I love about lockdown, because everybody's like, oh, actually, I'm going to stay away from you. A couple of members of my family really struggled with the stairs and that, because everybody was really suspicious. And at the very beginning, it was like, oh my God, everybody's like, everybody can kill everybody. So like, there was a whole new fear of leaving the house. Whereas I didn't experience anybody looking at me any different. In fact, people didn't come up to me. They didn't give me an opinion on my appearance, or like ask me where I'm from or what I am. And it's been glorious. And I felt extremely bad about that for a very long time, before even Black Lives Matter kicked back up. Yeah. Because I was just like, oh my God, I'm enjoying this, and everybody's in turmoil. And it's actually made my life a little bit better, because I don't have to interact with bigots or fascists or sexists. Or like, yeah, people are always like, your English is so good, even now. Like, where are you from? That was the guy on the beach. He was like, where are you from though? And I'm like, from, and I'm like, the Midlands. I'm like, no, but where are you from? I'm from the Midlands. Born and bred. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning, and he's just like starting up a conversation just out of interest. It's just like,
It's interesting that you say about lockdown, because it's almost like the opposite way. Instead of like smile, be happy, it's almost like, well, it's the pandemic, it's lockdown, so you better be sad because everyone else is. And almost that
yeah,
to experience things in the same way as everybody else, which is not like, that's not life. Like,
no, yeah. But it also like, I do have a lot of privilege because I'm light skinned as well. I'm good at code switching, but like, it was a privilege to feel that way when everybody else was fearing for their life. Like, because I fear for my life in normal day-to-day situations. So when people are out there, my life's safe. So like, and I mean, I don't leave much anyway. I go to the beach once a week. I go alone. I don't see anybody. I walk my dog. I don't interact with anybody in my household. I go to the post office once every 2 weeks. I do essentials and that. Like, I've always had minimum contact with the outside world because it's always traumatic. I travel to be myself and stuff, like, so like all my friends are down south and that. So like I always travel to be social, and then like I just live here as a radical recluse, pissing off fascists and racists with my existence every day. I get a kick out of that, and I know that's terrible. People are like, you should just move. Just come back down south.
No, I was going to say that my new favourite person. Like, yeah, no,
Well,
like,
yeah.
do you know what I think it is? And I think that's where a lot of people get het up about privilege. When someone says privilege, I think people assume like, well, you're saying that my life has been totally easy, and that's not what privilege is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, how would you describe privilege to people that are like, don't tell me I'm privileged, I've been through this, this, and this?
Yeah. Privilege is like, so it's not having to think about anything, you know. So if you're smaller, you don't have to worry about fitting into chairs. If you can walk, you don't have to worry about ramps and stuff. So like accessibility to events. If you're able-bodied, you don't have to think about that. If you're there's no really average size, that's a myth. But like, if you're of a small size, you don't have to worry about whether you're going to fit through a door or on the toilet, whether you're going to be able to wipe your ass when you sit down. These are all things you like have to take into account. That you don't have to. It's like being right-handed. You don't have to look for left-handed scissors. That's a privilege. To have everything made for you to ready use. Privilege is to have things that are easily accessible. Like, yeah, it's like, so I live with somebody who's left-handed and somebody who's right-handed, and like the left-handed person puts the cutlery in the wrong way in the drawer. I say the wrong way, it's not the wrong way. I only noticed it was the wrong way because the knives didn't fit in the place. I was just like, why does the cutlery keep getting mixed up? What? It's not in the hole it's meant to fit into. Like, the knives don't fit into this gap. And it's because that's how you would use it for left-handed. But obviously the cutlery tray is made for somebody who's right-handed. Whereas it sounds so simple. But like, if all the slots were the same size for the knife, the spoon and the fork, it'd be universal. Yeah. So like, privilege is not having to think about that. Just knowing where stuff is, knowing that your scissors are going to work, knowing that you'll be able to have access, knowing that you'll be all right. You don't like not having to consider risks, or that's privilege. Yeah. And everybody has privilege on different levels. Yeah. Like, if you've been to university, I've had university education, that's privilege. Yeah. It doesn't make me any less oppressed, but it doesn't make me as oppressed as some people. And it's a sliding scale, and there shouldn't be any shame in it. Always feels like accountability to be like, oh, actually, it always feels like an attack. Accountability, sorry. It always feels like a personal attack. People are like, oh, actually, no. but it's not a personal attack. You need to find out where you are on that slider in order to move other people's sliders to get to like a medium, rather than because people get really shitty about equal rights and that, and then like we'll issue equal rights, and then that minority group is still not on the same level. How's the best way to describe it? If you have 3 people standing on the fence, one's 6'2", one's 5'10", one's 4'8", and the fence is 6 foot, and everybody gets the same size box, because that's equality. But not everybody can see over the fence with the same size box, and some people don't need the box to see over the fence. So like it's disproducing wealth, or like not wealth, but equally, rather than fulfilling. And people's needs are different.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's okay. We're not all the same. No. Like if we all ate the same thing and did the same diet, our bodies would all be different anyway. Yeah. So, regardless of what people try to tell us, like we're purely unique in that sense. Yeah. It's like with the pandemic, we're all in the same storm, but we're all in very different boats. Yeah. We're all experiencing the same thing, but we're all kitted out with different things. Some people are out there in fucking dinghies, don't know whether they're going to survive it, and other people are out there in yachts. And that's the problem. That's the thing that people don't like. It's just like, oh, well, we're all the same. We're all in the same storm, and it's like we are, but we're all differently equipped, and that's privilege. Not everybody has a lifeboat. Not everybody's got a fucking boat, man. Yeah. If you were on a yacht with 3 dinghies, throw a dinghy off. Give it to somebody else.
You think it's about, I don't know. Do you think it's about people not giving a fuck, or do you think it's about people going, don't look at the people that don't have like a dinghy, and then we can just carry on like being like, unless they take it away, it's almost like this survival, like keep close what's ours, and then get everyone else. Well, what is it about people?
So I think that's human nature. We're self-serving. Yeah. We really are self-serving, which is why I don't. Like, people in power don't want to give up power. God, I wouldn't want to give up power if I had power. And that's okay to say that, Like, it doesn't make you a bad person. But it doesn't mean it's right. Like, if you've had something for so long and other people are suffering because of it, then share it. Because it should be survival of all of us. But we work very much on survival of the fittest. Which is like, that fits into a very like, very like cis, straight, white, male power suit. And not everybody's that. Like, I carry myself with the confidence of a mediocre white man, and it fucking confuses people. What the fuck? It's like, well, I haven't got anything else, but I can have the confidence. It's just, and people are selfish. We don't want to, it's the unknown, isn't it? We fucking hate uncertainty and like not knowing, and people like to be in control of things in their lives. And I think the older I get, the more I realise that like nothing's in our control. There's very little in our control. It's finding out how to change that. But the people who have who are sitting in the engine are going to be like, oh, hey, do you want to come up and have some of our cake? Like, no, you stay in like 3rd class and
also like, fight with each other as well, because it's all your fault and nothing to do with us.
Nobody wants to take the blame.
Nobody
nobody does. And when when I quote like white people, it's not white people individually, and a lot of people mean this. Like, it's the systems that benefit. So like you can be anti-racist, but if you're not doing anything to dismantle the powers that the racist systems give you, then you're still fulfilling that philosophy of like, nobody likes to give up power. That's the problem.
Yeah, totally.
get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. That's the only way. And no, it's not a nice feeling. Nobody likes it. But like, if we all ignore it, then nothing will ever change. We kind of have to give up our power and comfort to slide it a little bit for somebody else who doesn't have that power and comfort.
I have to like admit that my allyship has sometimes in the past, and maybe still is, a little bit performative. Like because and I think what it comes down to me is like I grew up with a racist dad who I don't see anymore, and I think my motivating factor, one of the motivating factors, is like I am not racist like my dad. I am not racist like my dad. So sometimes, and sometimes that might come off as like me just trying to get people to see that I'm not racist, without maybe doing the work that I needed to be doing.
But we're not our parents, Not our parents. Like, and nobody tells us that.
No.
Enough. Like, parents are big. Family is a big role. Family will fuck you up regardless. Mm. Like, it don't mean to. It's because nobody knows what they're doing. That's all it is.
That too, isn't it? Like, no one has a fucking clue, and we all need to be honest about that.
Yeah. I don't know why that's so scary.
Yeah.
Like, you get shamed if somebody asks your opinion on something. You're like, actually, I don't know enough about that to have an opinion. And when I say that, people are like, it's like, well, it's not. I can go look it up and come back to you. But right now, I don't have a basis on, how to make bread or whatever. I can't give you an opinion on it because I don't know enough about it. And there's no shame in that. But people like, and I did it for a really long time. I think because we're taught to be, we're conditioned to be like, I know everything. Follow me. I've got the way. But yeah, and everybody follows blindly, and we're still in this mess.
So true. It's so true. And actually, that is the misconception about confidence. Is that like if you don't know something, just pretend that you do, with confidence, and that's what I think has got.
People will follow you. Yeah, they're just like, all right, yes.
Yes, yeah, that sounds right. That's confident. I don't know what I'm doing, so I might as well follow them. And they're like,
yeah, they know what they're doing. Let's go. Yeah.
But that's why I think, to me, you are such kind of like a shining light and inspiration, because you're not like bullshitting. You're not. You're just saying like how it is for me. And I feel like that is so empowering and liberating, because I think potentially without knowing, you're kind of inspiring people to go, when I don't know stuff, I'm not going to like just make it up and hope it. I'm going to be honest, because I don't talk about something with authority if I don't know enough about it, or if I haven't experienced it myself. And that's, I think, one of the most important messages we need at the moment. So thank you so much for sharing.
It's just, we're always taught to be right and to know what you're doing, like in school, when you put your hand up, or you're put on the spot by the teacher, you are expected to know the answer. And if you don't know the answer, then you're punished in whatever form, whether that be like public humiliation or like whatever. Like, you're made to feel bad that you don't have the answer. And adults are just a load of little fucked up little people running around in adult bodies that are still being like, I think I've got the answer. Everybody's got their hand up.
Is there anything like that you feel like you want to say, that's something that's really important to you at the moment, like a call to action for people who, in whatever way, to be allies, better allies, real allies to fat people, to black people, and or disabled people, etc.? Like, what is it that you would like to say?
I don't know. Just be fucking inclusive and mean it. Like, I've done things in the past and stuff, and they've been like held at non-accessible venues, and I specifically went because they're held at non-accessible venues, because that's not inclusive. Yeah. Like, how can you say you're here for everybody, and then it starts lining people out? It's difficult. to be fully inclusive. It's a lot to think about. But I don't know, not feeling included, having a sense of belonging is so strong, and it can be such a powerful tool to be used for, like, cults do use it for bad things, but like it's like it can be used for good or bad. Mainly used for bad in history, but like a sense, I don't know, everybody just wants to be loved. Like, try and remember that. Like, money makes the world go round, but fucking kindness should. Like, spread a little bit of that around. I don't know, I don't really have any like words of wisdom.
Oh my God, are you serious? Like,
I'm just like, what do you say? It's all fucked.
And I think that's the thing. And what we've been talking about is almost like my expectation for you to finish off the interview with these words of wisdom, or to like wrap it up in a really hopeful way. And actually, like, I think it's all right to say how you feel, like, at the moment.
Yeah, we're all doomed. We've got to make the best of a bad situation. Be kind to one another. That's it. Fuck yes, kindness is gangster. It's a new cool, man.
It really is. And also underestimated, like kindness. Oh, isn't it wishy-washy? But it's like, I just think it is.
No, we don't have the power to change the world, but we have the power to change someone else's world for a day. You can change someone else's world and their mood for an entire day, just on like how you react, or interact with them, or like, and that's powerful.
It is powerful.
And that's the only power. Not normal. I hate using the word normal. But like everyday people, I don't know what the term would be. Like you and me, like we don't have massive amounts of power, but it doesn't take away the power that we have as individuals, as a species, to make other people feel better. It's like, and be kind to yourself as well. But being kind can be one of the hardest things. It's easy to close down and shut down and harden up, and it's easy to not be vulnerable. It's easier to not be vulnerable than to open yourself up for more hurt. Try and be more human. Like, because it's easy to forget, especially when we're so isolated, and with current events, there's loads of segregation happening all over with so many different things. And we're all, well, a lot of people are at home. A lot of people are also already homebodies beforehand due to illnesses or whatnot. Like, but I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm just like, I don't know, like, what to. I honestly don't have the answer to. Sounds so lame, but I'm going to say it anyway. Sure. Without the suffering in life, we wouldn't realise how beautiful it was. Like, there's moments, isn't there? Like, life feels like a lot of suffering all the time for a lot of people. But there's moments of kindness that you get from people, or just experiences, you know, like a conversation with a stranger that like speaks to me like a human being. Like, you know, just little things. Little things.
Yeah.
The big things are fucked, so focus on the little things until the big things like do all the little things until we can change a big thing.
And maybe the little things will become the big things.
Big thing, yeah.
The kind of kindness to a stranger will become like...
Yeah. Like it's a global fight. It's global. Mm. Like, think globally, fight locally. Yeah. So like, educate the people around you. Like, yeah, and it's difficult and it's tiring and it's a thankless job. But like, like it just it's how we're going to change. Just how changing people individually is how we'll change the masses. So yeah, fight globally, think globally, but fight locally.
I love that.
Because local's where we can make the difference. It's one of the reasons why I want to stay here. There's no safe places. Like, I mean, we have a Gay Tuesday once every 2 months. We have a friendly Tuesday night for gays.
Once every 2 months.
Wow. Once every 2 months, a Tuesday night where the gays can come out.
Wow. Gosh, that's like, and if you miss that, it's like.
I mean, nobody goes because everybody's too fucking scared. So like, it's just like, I want to settle here and I want to make a hub for people like me.
Oh,
so like,
do it.
It's a safe space.
Yeah. Honestly, you give me hope, even if you.
I'm glad. I don't feel like a very hopeful person. So I don't like speaking up because I'm just like, I'm pretty glum.
Oh, I don't know. Like, right, what we've done in the past isn't working, is it?
Yeah,
like,
no, it's not. We need change.
Happy face and going, we're all in it together. Let's have a big huggy kiss. Like, I'm all for like hugs and kisses, but we also need to acknowledge what's going on and being honest and vulnerable about that. And the fact that doing that, potentially with pressure from other people or other perspectives to be different, is inspiring to me and to many, many others, I'm sure. And so even though you may not feel hopeful, you give me hope. So you'll give hope to lots of other people. I'm certain. And I wish I could give you a big hug. I'm just like a virtual one. We did it. Thanks so much for talking to me, Bear. Like,
thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, we are just so thrilled that you're part of this year's Totnes Pride. It's
been lovely to like chat. My conversations aren't normally like this. I'm normally like shut down straight away because it's too like a privilege, isn't it? Don't have to really think about it.
Like
that's why I'm always like, I don't know. I suppose that's why I wear my like protest t-shirts in and out the house and everywhere. Like I will make you uncomfortable with your privilege, whether you like it or not.
Take care.
Oh, you too. Bye.
Bye, lovely. Bye.